Sometimes, the person who feels the most absent is the one who has never let go of you. With avoidant attachment, love isn't always shown in closeness sometimes. It hides in distance. And that distance can be the strangest kind of devotion. The paradox of their love. They will vanish from your days, but never from your story. They'll stop texting back, leave messages unanswered, and you might even start to believe they've forgotten you entirely. But somewhere, in a space they will never show you, you're still there, woven into the fabric of their inner world. That is the paradox of an avoidance love. It doesn't look like the love you've read about or the love you've seen in movies. It's not loud, public, or endlessly affirming. It's quiet, almost hidden. Sometimes so hidden that even you question if it exists at all. And yet, while they keep their distance, something in them refuses to let go. They may disappear for weeks, months, even years, but the thread between you doesn't fully sever. It's as if they have mastered the art of being far away, yet somehow still here. You might think, if they cared, wouldn't they try harder? Wouldn't they show up? But avoidant love is an entirely different language, one they speak fluently, even if it leaves you lost in translation. For them, closeness feels dangerous, not because they don't want it, but because they want it too much, and wanting something that deeply feels like a threat to their independence, their safety, their ability to remain in control of their own emotions. So instead of standing in the warmth of your presence, they linger at the edge. They watch. They remember. They stay connected in ways you can't always see. It's not the kind of love that knocks on your door, it's the kind that keeps a candle burning in a locked room. If you've ever been loved by an avoidant, you've likely felt the frustration of mixed signals. One moment, they're warm, almost vulnerable, and the next, they retreat into an emotional winter. It's not inconsistency for them. It's survival. In their world, loving you too closely means risking the pain of losing you. So they keep a distance they can manage, far enough to protect themselves, close enough to not lose sight of you entirely. And here's where the paradox deepens. They can end relationships. They can walk away. But emotionally, they rarely fully let go of the people who mattered most. It's a form of loyalty that doesn't look like loyalty at all, until you realize that no matter how far they roam, they're still circling the same emotional center. And if you've been that center for them, you may always be. This is not to romanticize the pain of their absence. Being loved from a distance can be confusing, lonely, and exhausting. But it's important to understand that their distance isn't always a lack of love. Sometimes, it's the very proof of it. They believe they're protecting the connection by not overusing it. They think they're keeping you safe from the storm inside them. And so, their love becomes this strange, almost invisible force, one you feel more than you see. If you've ever found yourself wondering why someone could care so much yet stay so far, the answer lies in this paradox. The avoidant loves deeply, but only at a distance they can survive. And to understand why, we have to go back to the roots of their silent loyalty. The roots of silent loyalty. To understand why an avoidant can stay in love while staying away, we have to go back to where their story began. This kind of loyalty doesn't come from nowhere. It's shaped in the earliest years of their life, in the quiet moments where they learned what love felt like, and just as importantly, what it cost. For many avoidantly attached people, love was always intertwined with uncertainty. Maybe it came with conditions. You were accepted when you were easy, but met with withdrawal or criticism when you were emotional, needy, or vulnerable. Maybe affection was rare, unpredictable, something that appeared in fleeting moments, then disappeared without warning. Over time, they learned a painful truth. Closeness can vanish. People can leave. And needing someone too much can hurt more than being alone. So they adapted. They became skilled at caring quietly from a distance, because that was safer than reaching out and risking rejection. As a child, this adaptation was survival. As an adult, it becomes their default way of loving. And here's the thing. Avoidants are often more loyal than they appear. But their loyalty is measured in how long they hold on inside, not in how often they show up on the outside. You might not see them calling, visiting, or making big public gestures, but in their private world, they're still connected to you. They remember the sound of your laugh, the way your face changes when you're deep in thought, the small details you once told them in passing. They store these things like a hidden collection. And no matter how far they drift, they rarely throw those memories away. Why? Because letting go entirely feels like a loss they're not ready to face. Their loyalty is born from two places at once: a genuine emotional bond and a deep-seated fear of what losing it would do to them. It's not the kind of loyalty that says, "I'll be there every day." It's the kind that says, "You'll always be here with me even if I can't be there with you." To someone on the outside, that can look like detachment. But for them, it's an act of preservation. They keep love alive in their inner world because that's the only place they've ever felt it could be truly safe. This is why you can go months without speaking. And then, when you finally reconnect, it's as if no time has passed for them. The thread they keep isn't casual. It's woven into their emotional wiring. It might not be visible to you, but it's what allows them to love you long after they've stepped away. And here's the surprising part. That invisible thread is rarely broken by new relationships, by time, or even by conflict. It's a loyalty that defies logic. And it's rooted in a way of loving that can't simply be turned off. But if they care so deeply, why not move closer? Why not choose presence over distance? To answer that, we have to understand the one truth at the center of their world. Why distance feels safer than closeness. The invisible strings that keep them connected. You might think distance means disconnection, but for the avoidant, distance doesn't always mean absence. In their world, there are invisible threads. Tiny, unspoken ways they keep you close. Even when it looks like they've let you go, these threads don't always look like romance. They can be quiet, almost unnoticeable to anyone but them. Sometimes, it's checking your social media without liking a single post. Sometimes, it's driving past a place you both used to go, just to feel the echo of that memory. Sometimes, it's keeping a gift you gave them years ago, not in plain sight, but somewhere they can find it. When they want to remember you, they might replay old conversations in their head, or recall your exact words and moments when they need comfort or clarity. For you, these things may feel small. For them, they're proof they've never truly let you go. The avoidant attachment style is not about lack of feeling. It's about managing overwhelming feeling in ways that feel safe to them. They keep those invisible strings in place because they can handle loving you this way, at a distance, in pieces, in memories, without triggering the fear that comes with full emotional exposure. It's their way of saying, "I can't stand too close, but I can't walk all the way away either." And while they might seem cold to someone who expects affection to be constant and obvious, their version of loyalty is this quiet, ongoing tether. Some of these strings are emotional. Others are practical. They'll remember your birthday. They'll save something they think you'd like. They'll still care if something happens to you, even if they haven't spoken to you in months. There's also a protective string. They might quietly step in to help you, without making it known it was them. An avoidant can be the person who fixes a problem in the background, then disappears before you can notice. This is not just about love, it's about control. They get to keep the connection without surrendering the safety of distance. It may not look like commitment in the traditional sense, but for them, these hidden gestures are commitment. And perhaps the most telling string of all is that they keep space for you in their mind. When they think about the future, you're still there. Maybe not front and center, but always in the frame. They won't always tell you this. In fact, they may deny it if asked directly. But that space they keep for you is one they rarely give away. The question is, if they're holding on this tightly in private, what stops them from stepping forward in public? That answer lies in the heart of their attachment style, and in the safety they find in staying just far enough away. Why distance feels safer than closeness? If an avoidant holds on to you through invisible strings, why can't they just step closer? The answer is simple and complicated. Closeness is the one thing they both crave and fear. For someone with avoidant attachment, closeness feels like standing too close to a fire. It's warm, it's beautiful, but they're convinced that if they stay too long, they'll get burned. It's not that they don't want intimacy. It's that intimacy has been tied to danger in their nervous system. Maybe in their childhood, closeness was unpredictable. One moment, they felt safe, and the next, the person they trusted pulled away, criticized them, or rejected them. Their nervous system learned that distance equals safety. It's not just a preference, it's a survival strategy. So when they start to care about you deeply, their mind tells them, don't get too close, you might lose yourself. The loyalty they feel is real, but showing it openly feels like handing over their most guarded parts and hoping you won't drop them. Even small acts of closeness, like answering a call right away or opening up about how they feel, can stir up deep anxiety. You might notice they become more distant right after a moment of connection. That's not because they didn't enjoy it. It's because it triggered the alarm bells in their body. To them, staying at a distance keeps the love intact, because in their mind, love is safest when it's not tested by too much exposure. They believe, often unconsciously, that if you never get too close, you can't hurt them the way they were hurt before. This is why they can stay committed in silence for years, because silent commitment feels less risky than the vulnerability of being truly seen. And yet, distance comes with its own cost. They miss the chance for deeper connection. They watch moments pass that they secretly wish they'd been part of. They see you moving forward without them, and it stirs something they can't always name. Sometimes, they tell themselves they're okay with that. Other times, they feel the ache of it for days. It's not that they don't care. It's that caring feels safer from across the room. But here's the truth. If you've seen the signs of their silent loyalty, you already mean more to them than they can admit. The distance is not a measure of their love's weakness, but of their fear's strength. Understanding that fear is the key to seeing them clearly, and to knowing how to meet them without pushing them further away. Which brings us to the final piece: how to recognize and respond to their devotion in a way that honors both your needs and theirs. Recognizing and responding to their silent devotion. If their loyalty is hidden in silence, how do you see it? And more importantly, how do you respond to it without scaring it away? The first step is learning their language of love. For the avoidant, this language is subtle, quiet, and often disguised as something ordinary. They may check in casually, but it's really their way of saying, I'm still here. They may remember the smallest details you told them months ago, even if they never make a big deal about it. They may support you in ways that require no spotlight, helping behind the scenes, or making sure things work out for you, without you even knowing they were involved. With them, loyalty looks like constancy, not constant contact. Once you start noticing these patterns, you'll see that they've been showing up all along, just not in the way you expected. The second step is meeting them where they are. That doesn't mean shrinking your needs or accepting a love that leaves you lonely. It means giving them enough space to breathe, while also showing that closeness with you is safe. You don't need to chase. You don't need to demand grand gestures. Instead, respond to their small steps forward, with warmth instead of pressure. Over time, those steps can become strides. The third step is knowing your own worth. Because no matter how loyal they are in silence, you deserve a love that you can feel in your everyday life, not just in the quiet spaces. If their fear of closeness means you never get to experience the fullness of the relationship, you have the right to decide if that's enough for you. Sometimes, the greatest act of love for both of you is showing them that your needs matter, too. Because here's the thing, many avoidants don't realize how deeply they can love until they're faced with the possibility of losing it. Your clarity can become their turning point. Your boundaries can become the bridge that finally feels safe for them to cross. And if they do, you'll see a loyalty that has always been there finally step into the light. If you've ever felt the quiet presence of someone who loves you from afar, this is your reminder. Their distance isn't always the absence of love. Sometimes it's love's most cautious form. But love, in its truest form, is meant to be shared, felt, and lived. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. You never know whose heart it might reach.